Welcome to Politics Done Right on KPFT. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Give me a call at 713-526-5738. That is 713-526-KPFT. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for spending this time with us. Look, folks, we are going to have a great show, but before we start, Shannon, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty well, but man, it is the dog days of summer out there.
Oh, I know.
Heat index out the window. My gosh. And maybe we can, I wish we could chalk that up to everybody being crazy.
Well, no.
Well, not
can't.
everyone, but no. Yeah, there's no excuse.
We have no excuse for this heat, but you know what?
We have no excuse for what's going on. I can't believe this is occurring in 2017.
I can't believe this is the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I got over here to this country, it was like, wow, this is a bastion of democracy. This is all those good things that we always talk about,
Mm-hmm.
And then you wonder what.
Did we get sucked through a tunnel? Where did all these termites come from?
Yes, what happened? But hey, what can I say? Shannon, these are things that happen periodically. I've been told from other folks that these things kind of happen in cycles. So because it happens in cycles, well, listen, it's all going to get better.
So we went through a warp zone in a cycle? Oh, that's terrifying.
Well,
how does progress happen that way?
Progress is doesn't happen in a straight line. That's what they say.
Okay.
It goes
I get
up
what you're
and
saying
down.
there.
It goes up and down. So, folks, for all of those who are listening, don't despair. Because things are eventually going to get better. But we're going to have a great show today, Shannon. And first of all, before we get started, I want to remember to thank Shannon for being that excellent producer that she is and brought us directly from Atlanta, live from Atlanta, Georgia at Netroots 2017. That was great. We are a team. And by God, with all the problems that we had and the technical difficulties, it all worked out fine. But we're going to have a great show today, folks. The title of the show today is We Better Understand Trump's Game Before It's Too Late. And that is important. Subtitle, Trump is playing a dangerous game. We better stop. I really want you guys to not just think it is what you think it is, because it's a lot deeper than what we've been told. Okay? Look, folks. Trump continues to push the envelope. This week, he started the execution of his latest plan to divide the nation. Steve Bannon claims economic nationalism, but we all know what it really is. It is imperative. And when I say it's imperative, folks, I mean it. It is imperative that we understand what's going on. It is imperative that we are a part of the solution. And I'm not just talking about talking, because, it's easy for us to talk. It is easy for us to say, hey, we are going to do something and not do it. These times are dangerous, and these are the times that we really have to execute. I have a blog of the week that is very important. I hope you guys stick around and listen to it. But, before I get to the program, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are The Monitor
with Mark Babawi. And that's every Monday at 7 p.m.
Then we have Think Wing Radio with
Mike Honig, Mondays at 9 p.m.
And of course, there's Partisan Gridlock with
Jeff Berg every Friday at 3 p.m.
And we have Open Journal, still got its tweak, but it's changed a bit, and I got to change it on the blog as well. When's that?
Yes, it is on Mondays at 6 p.m. I'm the engineer for that show, so you'll hear your afternoon commute at 6 p.m.
And then we have Jazz Latino, Afro-Cuban Latin Jazz at its best, hosted by
Juan Flores. And now that's moved as well.
Tell me about that.
Well, it's actually from noon till about 2 o'clock. I get to trade places with him. And Tuesdays, I believe. Tuesdays.
Oh, wow. You know, I made all these changes, or rather, I need to make all these changes.
The world has shifted since the last time.
The world has shifted since the last week. You know, went to Atlanta, Georgia, and came back, and now we have all these different things. What am I going to do?
I don't know, evolve maybe.
I love that word. We always must consider that. We all have to learn, I guess, to evolve. But folks, look, this is let me go this way. Check out our full schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is a listener-supported public community radio station, so please remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information not influenced by the corporatocracy. And as I am supposed to do and as I'm told to do by Shannon, this is KPFT 90.1 FM Houston, Texas. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear your thoughts. We want you to call in. Remember, hashtags Politics Done Right is our hashtag. Twitter, Egberto Willies. Folks, but do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
In these times of dread, in these times when we have the leader of the country trying to create division, I think this is an important blog, and I hope we all listen to it in the context that it was written. So please, folks, let's go, and this is how it goes. We are missing the real story about Trump's collusion with white nationalists, and here it goes. Many continue to miss the real story about Trump's response to Charlottesville. They do not understand how deep it is. The white nationalists are just a tool for the ultimate goal. Trump is dangerous because he believes he can remake America into his infantile interpretation of America, where only European culture matters. It is essential that Americans understand that Trump weaving an intricate path that combines truth, lies, distortions, and economic realities could actually work. There are some who believe that Trump is the result of the economic angst of white working class Americans. Others believe that he just allows those with strong racist inclinations to come out of the light. Others believe it was a FU to the entire political establishment. That debate, however, should be over. Why? Because you are all right. All of you are right. It is all of the above. The problem is that while at this point the sum of all those still does not make up the majority of the country, it likely still makes up an electoral majority, even today. My contrarian thinking tells me that we are at a tipping point. And Trump said something in his press conference that while those educated in history can discount, it is not so for the vast majority of Americans. I think the following statement he made is deeper than many are willing to accept. And this is what he said at that news conference, folks. He said as follows. George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? Trump said. Will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think about Thomas Jefferson? Do you like him? Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. So, you know what? It's fine. You are changing history. You are changing culture. You are changing Culture. You get it?
Yes, of course. And he also referenced heritage in there, too.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Continuing. The message was not said solely for white nationalists or white supremacists to hear. It was meant to plant a seed in all white people overall. He is telling them that they are coming for the Confederate heroes now, and that the founders of our nation who had severe immoral flaws as well would be next. He wants to hit the core of what many believe is the essence of being a white American. But Trump's intent was also to plant a seed in the psyche of those oppressed by the founders and subsequent leaders of the country's Black, Native Americans, Chinese, etc. He is inciting the belief in the recesses of the mind of these groups to equate those Confederate traitors with the founders. After all, while they condemned the Confederates, were Union not just as a less vile reflection? His hope is that these groups would progressively get more aggressive in destroying symbols of Americana and thus incite a reaction from white America as they are made to have a whiff of historical discomfort. That is important, folks. It's a psychology. There were interesting responses to this narrative when posited in the blogosphere for a few to examine. One stuck. I kind of tested the message with a few. I took a piece of the blog of the week and put it out there because I wanted to make sure that what I was saying really held. I'm not talking about validity because this is an opinion, a calculated opinion. But I wanted to see if people reflected on that also. And this guy said the following. He replied to that message that I put out there. He said, I think we give puppet here Trump, meaning Donald Trump, too much credit for actually thinking, which I am quite sure he does very little of, since he has surrounded himself with white nationalists and white supremacists who are putting the thoughts in his head. I agree with your thoughts about putting the seed in certain people's minds about past presidents being no better than the Confederates who have been memorialized in statues and other means, plus they have also done considerable damage to blacks, Native Americans, Chinese, etc. So why don't we tear down and destroy those too? I never thought of it that way, but you are right. Past presidents and governments have done a lot of damage to those people, but deep down they were nowhere near as hateful or as evil as any of the white nationalists or white supremacists are. Of course, now we have here Donald Trump, the prime example of a hateful, evil, racist, bigoted, and misogynistic. If you can even call him a person as a fake president, for the young people to look at in disgust. That was the guy's reply to the commentary. Anyhow, continuing. No one is implying that the president is a great tactician or intellect. Look, a mosquito, a virus, a bacteria don't have a complex, well-designed intellect, but they are good at the one thing that they do. In other words, it doesn't take a lot of intellect to keep doing something over and over again or to do the thing that best suit what you want to do. Trump is good at the one thing he does. He does not have to know why it works, but that if he tries long enough, he may stumble on the right strategy. Steve Bannon pretty much corroborated the narrative with his recent interview with the American Prospect. He acknowledged that the white nationalists are but a tool. When I woke up this morning to what he said, I was like, blog post vindicated, blog post vindicated. Robert Kuttner from American Prospect said the following. Ask Bannon about the connection between, or rather, Robert Kuttner asked Bannon about the connection between the program of economic nationalism and the ugly white nationalism epitomized by the racist violence in Charlottesville and Trump's reluctance to condemn it. Bannon, after all, was the architect of the strategy of using Breitbart to heat up white nationalism and then rely on the radical right as Trump's base. He dismissed, listen to this, he dismissed the far right as irrelevant and sidestepped his own role in cultivating it. Ethno-nationalism? It's a loser. That's what he says now. It's a fringe element. That's what he says now. I think the media plays it up too much. And we got to help crush it, help crush it more. These guys are a collection of clowns. Hey, white nationalists, did you hear what your guy said about you?
Well, then why did he make that statement before that said that they had monster power?
You see, it's a game. That's why I said we have to understand the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about being accurate. It's not about knowing all of this stuff. It's about being able to understand how they're trying to play the game. And in this case, Bannon is Trump's brain. Remember, Trump is not an analytical guy, but he's a good front man.
He's a great distraction.
Yes, he's a great distraction. So Bannon also, but here's what else he said. Bannon was not also clear on why, which echoes the thought of inciting white fears. He said, the Democrats, he said, the longer they talk about identity politics, I got them. I want them to talk about racism every day. If the left is focused on race and identity and we go with economic nationalism, we crush the Democrats. And I hate to say this, but Bannon in that is pretty much right. I can prove that. I don't have the time to do it on this show today. But in that point, he's right. But here's how I handle that. I said, Democrats must not stop identity politics until all identities are equally represented and have equal access to success. They have no choice. What Democrats must do is weave it into an economics that removes the either or narrative. Sadly, race is a social construct with no biological, existential, or intellectual significance, continues to be used to create disruptions to consolidate power by a minority. Unfortunately, in the process, it is injuring an unclosed wound. We have to get that, folks. We have to understand that. For those in the know, for those who voted for Trump, for other than racist reasons, it is time for you to speak up. It is time for you to address your brethren before we fall off the cliff. Remind folks that while we cannot do anything about the past, we are the ones in control of the future. Explain that animating ethnic angst is a power play. Most importantly, remember that social, criminal, economic, and racial justice is good not just for the oppressed, but for us all. Folks, the telephone number is 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. We still have open lines, but let's go to línea número uno, Brother John. Come on in, my friend.
How you doing, America?
I am
Welcome
doing fine.
to America.
Talk to me, Brother John.
I've been seeing all this since the 60s. They shot my first president when I was 3 years old.
Yes, sir.
Charleston, it's sad that happened, especially to Heather. But they're losing. That's
Yes, they
why
are.
his adolescent vitriol showed bounced back and forth for 5 days. That's why he's losing his business friends.
It's interesting, Brother John.
He loses the business. All he has left is the far right.
Yes.
That's all he has left. His ratings now are at 32%.
That is a shame, isn't it? But let me tell you something,
and
Brother
they're already
John.
talking about applying the 25th Amendment to him, being unfit for the presidency.
That doesn't surprise me at all. But let me tell you something.
He didn't get the health care through. He ain't had time to get on the taxes. Didn't even get time to talk about infrastructure, putting his foot in his mouth again. I guess he likes both of them in there at the same time. But we're winning. The push is on. The push is on.
Yes, let me tell you.
And her name is Heather.
Yes, thank you very much, Brother John.
I heard an interview with Intifada today. Mark, one of the leaders of one of the groups, they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere.
Okay, Brother John, I got to let you go because I think you have one of those mana things that you can't hear when I'm trying to talk back to you. Can you hear me now, Brother John?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Before I let you go, let me tell you, you're correct that when you talk about what's going on, one of the most dogs are most dangerous, or dogs or wolves or whatever when they're injured, right? Because they're
cornered, correct?
Or cornered, and that is where we have a lot of these folks feel what I say is unnecessarily cornered. There is no reason for a lot of these people to feel cornered. However, by design, these people that take advantage of these folks, they make them feel cornered because they need them to feel cornered. They need to be able to tell you that you need to fear all those other people, because that's the only way that they can win. And that is what they want to do. Now, it is our job, though. And I think, we're working at it with all these different groups out there. It is It is our job to let them know there's nothing to fear. There's absolutely nothing to fear. And that's what we're doing. But thank you very much for calling, Brother John. You have a wonderful day, okay, folks?
You too. Bye, Shannon.
Sure. The telephone number is 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738. We're going to take a quick station break and then give us a call, and we have open lines.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Egberto. It's another brutally hot day, currently 97 and partly cloudy. Humidity is around 40%, and it feels like 105 out there. Heat advisory in effect this afternoon until 7 p.m. So please do limit your time outside and make sure you drink plenty of water. Small chance of a stray shower. Clear to partly cloudy tonight with a low of 79, and hot and mostly sunny Friday with a high near 98. 20% chance of isolated thunderstorm in tomorrow afternoon. And tomorrow through this weekend, expect heat index values to range between 103 to 107 each afternoon. That's brutal. And let's take a brief look at our roadways. On the North Loop eastbound at Willisville, there's an accident affecting the center lane to right shoulder. Traffic's backed up to Kirkpatrick. And on 288 inbound at McGregor, there's still a multiple vehicle accident that has now been moved to the right shoulder. And traffic's backed up to Old Spanish Trail, and a few other delays around town, including on the North Freeway inbound at the Katy Freeway. There's a disabled vehicle affecting the exit ramp there, backing up traffic to Cavalcade, and starting to slow down in a few areas around town, including on the West Loop in both directions from Forness up to the Katy Freeway, and that is still slow all the way extended to Irvington. And you're tapping on those brakes on the Gulf Freeway inbound from Telephone all the way up to Cavalcade. That's a look at your Houston area weather and traffic. I'm Shannon McCurchie, and you're listening to KPFT Houston 90.1, Politics Done Right with Egberto Willies.
Excellent.
Back to you, Egberto.
We're back. Line number one's ringing. Let's go to line number 2. And folks, please do remember that this is a call-in show. We do have lines open, 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. John, come on in, my friend.
Good afternoon, Egberto.
How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I've been sounding the alarm since June 16th,
yes, 2015,
on this show and on your internet show.
Yes.
When the racist-in-chief announced his presidential run. Since Charlottesville happened, he's quadrupled down on his racism and his xenophobia, and part of me is in shock. I mean, that an American president would be deliberately this racist and xenophobic, but part of me knew this was coming. You look at Bannon, you look at Stephen Miller, Gorka, they're all racist. And Trump set up a victims of immigration crime engagement. You know, anybody who knows about this knows that immigrants commit crimes at a lower rate than American citizens.
Yes.
This was set up by Trump to demonize immigrants. And when Bannon was the editor at Breitbart, there was a black crime section, not a white crime section, who commit more crimes, per capita than anybody else, but a black crime section. I advise progressives to address Republicans who recently... you look at their recent history, you talk about the 7 strategy, you talk about Ronald Reagan, who gave a speech in Philadelphia,
Alabama, right? Mississippi, yeah.
Right. That's the same place that Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner were killed.
Yes.
All people promoting civil rights. They were killed in 1964. That wasn't an accident. You look at all the voting ID that's put in place to discriminate against the working class and black and Latinos. You look at the Supreme Court, how they dropped the portion of the Voting Rights Act. There is a correlation between all of this, and Trump's just taking it to a further degree than anybody else has taken it before. And, it is, one of the saddest days in my life, really. I mean, to hear what he said on Tuesday. I mean, what he said on Saturday was, pathetic also. But to actually, and he's still doing it. He's still doing it in this
He's
tweet.
doubling down, yes.
I mean, he just keeps going on and on. And, I hope, these people aren't going to give up. You're talking about the Antifa people, and I'm glad that they're fighting back. But the racists aren't going to give up either. And he really needs to wake up and realize is that he keeps doing that, he is inciting violence. And, when he says stuff like on Saturday, he's saying, we all need to come together. His whole campaign is about inciting division. That's what it was, just one put down festival after another. And the Republican Party needs to throw him out, I'm hearing people, Al Gore said that he should resign today.
Yes.
And he, at the very least, we should start at like a small thing, a censure. But will the Republicans do that? No. The Republicans accept this. They were actually, if you look at the numbers, they actually were fought against the health care more than what's happened at Charlottesville.
It's funny, John.
Let
me tell you what's interesting. Okay, 85% of Republicans still support Donald Trump. 85% of Republicans still support Donald Trump. Yes, they only make up 20-something percent, maybe low 30% of the population, but that is still. That is a concerning number, and that is why I write some of the things that I write when I make points that don't count Trump out, etc. Because I said while they'll never win the popular vote, they could possibly still have the electoral college locked up until we break the back of that insidious embedded. I don't want to call it solely racism, but that embedded not love for party, but that embedded hate for everything else. So we stick with what we got. We have to break that. But continue, my friend.
Well, I've said before on one of your shows about how I graduated from Robert E. Lee High School, and here in 2017, it's still there. And I did a little research, and in what I've read, like in Houston and Austin, they had some schools that they changed the name for. But here in Dallas and San Antonio, they still have Robert E. Lee High School, and there's a Travis Park, in downtown. We do need to get rid of this. We need to talk about what really went on, all the rapes that went on, all the slavery, all the death and torture. And I was just reading something today. They were talking about black Union soldiers who were captured, and what did the Confederates do? They would not take them as prisoners of war. They just killed them on the spot. This is our history. We need to acknowledge our history, and I know that I've benefited from white privilege, and white men need to accept this. That this is the truth. And what's been happening since the advent of the cell phone is that we're seeing documented all of this talk. Before, it was just the police versus the black man, and the police, the juries always favored the police. But now we're seeing them, somebody's running away and being shot in the back, and incident after incident. I could name 15 people that are in the public, that everybody knows, all the way from Trayvon Martin to Freddie Gray. All of the people have been killed, unjustly, and the racism is, strong today. And I was hoping with Obama that we were making progress, but this backlash is just terrible. And it's just unacceptable.
Let me tell you something, John. Let me tell you what's important, though, and let me give you some kudos here. It is what you do, and when you speak as a white guy out here, what you do is important. And let me tell you why it's important. Because peer pressure plays a humongous role in our society today. And there are a lot of good people out there, but they're just scared. They're scared to engage. They're scared to say, I am coming to work with Black Lives Matter, even though they know that that concept is right. They're scared to say, I'm going to work with the civil justice system in these different areas, because they're scared. But when they have the support of knowing that you're leading the way, there's a John out there, white guy, who understands privilege and doesn't scare or feel oppressed by somebody saying it. But in fact, like my friend Eleanor says all the time, when she's out there marching with us, she'll come out and say, you know what? Today it is time for me to use my white privilege to help my folks. I mean, it's amazing. When we have people that take that stand, it gives others permission. I hate to put it that way as far as permission, but it gives them the extra oomph that they need to go out there. So what you're doing is very good, and should be respected for what you're doing, my friend. So anything else you want to say before we go to the next caller, my friend?
Yeah, I just want to, all the people who believe in all this neo-Nazi stuff, I mean, if you have hate in your heart, I mean, you're a miserable person. I mean, people who put love in their heart and accept all the different cultures and all the different religions, I'm not saying you have to accept everything about them, but at least keep an open mind and learn from these cultures and realize that all of these people have something to give you. And it's important, they have great knowledge, and it's just very important that we accept cultures and be diverse. And it's meant so much to my life. It's improved my life, accepting diversity.
John,
I would be miserable if I didn't.
John, you're a good man, and you keep on listening, you keep on calling. And remember, let folks know about KPFT, because this is what we do. And this is our goal. So thank you very much for calling, John, and you have a great day, my friend.
All right.
Before I go to line 3, I want to tell folks that, remember, this is KPFT 90.1 Houston FM Houston. But
Our
I want
Pacifica radio
a Pacifica
station.
radio station. We're a Pacifica network. But folks, I want to tell you guys something else. We're not in Fund Drive right now, but you don't need to wait for Fund Drive to keep us on air. As you know, things have been very tight here for a long time because we run a shoestring budget. So I want to ask all you guys to go to kpft.org, and you see that little button that says donate? Give us as much as you can. We are great stewards of your monies, and we make sure to do our job. We make sure to keep.
And if you appreciate our eclectic blend of programming,
yes,
definitely do tell a friend. Have them tune in. Maybe you can have little listening parties. I geek out with that.
I know we all geek out with that. Have a listening party. KPFT is a great station, and look, it's a people-run station. It really is a people-run station. So I mean, we're family. And we do all the things family do.
And it's amazing how much time just individual volunteers put in every week.
Absolutely. So folks,
whether it's events on the weekend, like where we had John Kariakou.
Yes.
That was great.
Yes, I missed it.
It was a pleasure to meet him.
Yes, I can imagine. I saw the pictures with you on here.
Yeah.
But anyway, line 2. But anyhow, let's go to línea número 3, line number 3. Come on in, Gary. Talk to me, brother.
Egberto.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to either shame you or make you famous.
Oh, wow. Please make me famous. I don't want any more shame.
All right, well, you need to answer a personal question.
Let's hear it.
How old are you?
I am 55 years old.
Okay, so 55, I'm 65, so you were born in 62.
61,
so in 72, you were 10 years old.
Yeah.
So you missed the moratorium. Now, when I was in high school, I was 17, 18, we all went to Washington, D.C., and we had a big, giant demonstration against the Vietnam War, and we were, Nixon was in charge, and, they had just gone to the moon, so we were saying April, May, December, June, send Nixon to the moon. And I demonstrated, we shut down I-25 and I-20 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we demonstrated in California, we demonstrated in Texas. So, they're talking about impeaching Trump, and Trump is the subject of the day, but what you need to do as an activist, now you claim to be an activist, put your money where your mouth is, son. Let's have somebody organize a nationwide, not about women, not about Latinos, not about blacks, not about racism, not about Confederate stature, a nationwide organized demonstration demanding that Trump resign. Now, I accidentally went into the internet and found some YouTube thing, Rolling Stone magazine and a bunch of others saying Trump should resign. Trump, well, everyone's waiting for impeachment. Well, you're waiting for World War III if you're waiting for impeachment. Why don't the people of the United States of America stand up and say, get the hell out of Dodge? Thank you.
Now, let me don't leave yet, because I want to ask you a question. First of all,
let me for him to get the hell out. He's a psycho.
Yes, I think he is. But you know what's so interesting? I think America is a very strong country, and we can withstand even Trump. But here's the deal. Everybody wants Trump impeached and everybody wants Trump gone, right? I'll be honest with you. I feel a bit better with Trump than I would a Pence, and worse, I think if Trump resigned and Pence became president, I think there are some dynamics within our country that would make Pence not a 2-term president, but a 2 3/4 term president, which means we could be left with somebody like Pence for 11 point something years. Okay. I like to look down the road a bit, and that concerns me more than it does Trump. I want to keep Trump beat up, but I don't necessarily want Trump gone.
I wouldn't worry about Pence. Do you ever listen to National Public Radio?
All the time.
Okay, then you must have heard the little joke on Wait, Don't Tell Me, where they said that Pence was going out to play tennis, but he couldn't find his ball. Think about it. Now, this man hasn't got the courage. He's a Christian, but he's going to not stand up against everything Jesus stood for, hatred and racism and come on.
Let me follow. Yes, he is, but let me tell you, he's playing the game. He's playing the game, and let me tell you something. Donald Trump is completely anathema to everything Pence believes in. Okay, I'm telling you. But Pence is simply holding time. Don't think, to us, it's like he has no morals, he has nothing, but he's holding time. But I got to go now. Gary, thank you so kindly for calling.
Are you going to start the revolution or not, son?
Okay, you go. I tell you what, you and I,
get out there and demonstrate?
Gary, you and I are going to start.
The time has come.
All right, the time has come, Gary. We're going to do it. Okay, Gary? Thank you, buddy. Have a good one. Take care. Okay, let's go to Joni, line 2. Come on in, Joni.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine. Talk to me, my friend.
Okay, when all this first began, and I don't have TV, I don't have internet on purpose. It's not to remain ignorant. It's just I don't want the constant barrage.
I feel you.
Well, my friend knows this, and from San Francisco. She called me. Who happens? And I need to add this so you understand the dynamics of our conversation.
Sure.
She's biracial. She's black and white. I'm white. And she told me about what was going on as it was happening in Virginia. So we discussed. I said, okay, yes, those things need to come down. And we were like, oh my gosh, okay, say prayers for it. Send it good thought, good energy, and peace for all. But what are we going to do? Are we going to take down everybody that's considered a white hero? Where is the end of it? Because back then they all owned slaves, and I've likened it to how we all drive, fossil fuel vehicles, and we know it's wrong. It's kind of what the system in place right now, and Thomas Jefferson being one who said that if slavery has to end because it's wrong, but it can't end in my lifetime because it's going to take down the entire system. We need to, and my husband and I said we need to come up with a line. People need to draw that line of where is it wrong. Are we going to take down Thomas Jefferson like Trump said? And I'm sorry, I said it before him, and I'm sorry my husband said, he must have heard you. But I said, okay, but where does it end? And he said, and we both agreed, when they actively promoted and fought for the basic concepts of racism, and fought for that to continue on with blatant racist attitudes.
Joni, I don't think you read. You probably came to the show before my blog, right? Because you hit it on the money, right? And go to politicsdoneright.com and read the blog, okay?
Oh, okay.
Because I covered that. I covered exactly that. Because when does it end? And that's, believe it or not, that's important because that is what he's banking on, for white people eventually to say, "Oh my God." But then that's George Washington, and he held slaves. Oh my God! And that's Jefferson, and he held slaves.
I know. Yes, I know. He's banking on it, and he's trying to inflame.
Exactly.
But I also that I know I'm a informal student of comparative religion.
Right.
And I know that Kali, and people. I don't know if many have done any reading on the goddess Kali. But she says, okay, all my children have become demonic, so she goes on this destructive rampage and ends up only stopping when the destruction gets so bad that it ends with the death of her husband, Shiva. So anyway, so I didn't want it to start to snowball down where it becomes a fight that...
I got you.
What I mean? Okay, you've already covered it, and I'm sorry I'm repeating.
No, it's not about repeating it, but look, I'm glad you're here, first of all. I'd like to ask you to go to politicsdoneright.com and read, the link, the blog. It has a link to the blog of the week. Read it because that is those are the kinds of things that we cover in there, because that's an important concept, and that's why I said we can't be played. Look, Joni, thank you very much for calling. Thank you very much for listening. You have a wonderful day, okay?
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, let's go to line number 5 with Donald. Donald, come on in from Charlottesville.
Hey, no, not from Charlottesville. I'm here in Houston.
Oh, okay.
But I mentioned Charlottesville
he
to
wants
the
to talk about
producer, and so I guess she thought that's what I was.
Oh, no,
anyway.
she knew. I just said it wrong. Thank you, my friend. Talk to me.
Couple of three things I wanted to touch on real quickly. One, I'll skip most of what I was going to say, because you just talked about the statues with the previous caller.
Right.
The simple point I wanted to make is that the statues aren't just a piece of national history. They're also a piece of familial history.
Right.
My personal example is the statue of Dick Dowling here in Houston. I am the 4th great-grandnephew of Dick Dowling. I'm descended from his younger sister.
Right.
And my sons, who have never been to the statue, actually one of them was once when he was very little. But to them, it stands there as a monument not to the Confederate Army or to the holding of slaves, which Dick Dowling never held. And even though we've stripped him of his street, which is where his bar used to be,
right,
the statue is still there.
Right.
And he wasn't just a person that served in the military of his time. He was also a pillar of the Irish community and a leading businessman and one of the founders of the volunteer fire department, the first volunteer fire department here in Houston.
Okay.
He did so much more than simply wear a gray uniform and did something with cannon that no one else had ever thought of doing. He's still in the history books. He is still taught at the War College because of the brilliant use of his very underpowered cannon that he made at that little fort on the river.
Now, okay, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to move on from there.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about Antifa. I was just reading a post from a friend of mine on Facebook yesterday, and she made a very, very good point. Why are we talking about fascists and anti-fascists? It should be fascists, and the other side should be called the default setting of humanity. They're people. There's fascists and there's people. the idea that we need a name for the opposition to fascism should be my hard right fist, because that ought to be the default setting of humanity.
Okay,
it's not just a matter of opinion. It's evil. It is evil to its core. My grandfather served in that war, and he fought. And well, he didn't personally. He was in the Merchant Marines.
Yeah.
So he was relatively safe on England's shores.
Right.
But he was there. He was in the theater. His life was at risk.
Right. Now, I got to run on time now, so kind of close it up for me, and then I want to give you a quick response.
The third thing, actually folds right into that. Punching Nazis. It's been a popular meme for a while. There's a lot of people joking back and forth about it. Certainly there have been videos all over the internet of people at these rallies punching a fascist.
Right.
I applaud that 100%. Although I am generally completely a pacifistic person, yet I believe in what this country helped do when we went to Europe and stopped Nazi Germany. And it's something that Germany did in the Reconstruction period, outlawing all fascism and symbols of fascism.
Okay, Don.
They did not allow it to set root again.
Right. I got to go, sir.
And we should have to.
I got to go, but let me tell you, good points. I really wanted to touch on the point with your the relative that you had. But what I wanted to say is, look, if you're there, I don't think there's any part of the world right now where the portion of the country that, or rather the heroes that, or the supposed heroes or whatever that lost the war, or placed in memorial, if you will, or statues made of. And secondly, also, we have to realize what, we can talk about something being of your family. And look, believe me, I understand that we don't pick our families. And not only that, but we all make mistakes. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But we have to be cognizant also of the effects that have on others. And once we keep that in mind, I think things would be placed in the appropriate perspective. Look, I think monuments to great guys who've made mistakes. I mean, the question is, where are all the monuments to many other folks that are out there? There's a story at my website, egbertowillies.com, that actually covered that with the witches of Massachusetts. Take a look at that, and then we can talk about this further at another time, my friend. But look, thank you so kindly for calling, and we'll keep this great dialogue going. Okay, my friend?
Thank you, Egberto.
You have a good one now. Okay, let's go to line number... we got to go quicker now, folks, because I'm filled up. So you got 30 seconds. Let's go to Johnny, line number 4. Come on, Johnny. Sorry I had to tighten it up now.
I don't know if it's your family genes or if maybe you're a vegetarian, but you could easily pass for 40.
Well, you know what? I hang with a lot of young folks all of the time, and so that keeps my mind young and it keeps my body young. Put it that way, all right?
Well, it doesn't work for that lady on the TV commercial for that getaway vacation, where vacations are the most important thing to her. She looks every bit of her age.
All right, well, talk to me now, my brother. Look, I claim to be 39, okay, but go ahead.
Okay, well, Donald Trump, we know he's a moron.
Right.
And he proves every day that he knows less and less about more things.
Right.
The fact that he telegraphs so poorly, he doesn't even think ahead anymore as to what he's saying. When he started defending the idea of keeping those statutes up, and he was angry and argumentative with reporters, then he says, what's it going to take? And my first thought to my head was, us kicking you out of office, or you and Pence resigning, and then we go immediately to a paper ballot election under strict custody rules, enforced by volunteers, no Republicans allowed.
Johnny, I hear you. I take your idea. Got to go to the next one, but you keep calling, you keep listening, my brother, okay?
Keep shaving your head, eating veggies.
Thank you, brother. All right, let's go to Don, line number 3. Come on in, Don, real quick. Don, line number 3, you're on.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on, Don. Talk to me.
Oh, John.
John, come on.
Hey, I love your show. I wish you had a 2-hour show instead of the 1 hour.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, sir. Only thing I got a problem with what's going on in Charlottesville, what's going on with the whole United States right now is too much of a racial identity it should have just stayed with a political identity.
Yes. Let me. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I think that's why you probably heard Gavin McInnes, Alex Jones, and Ben Shapiro told all their followers to stay away from Charlottesville because they cannot stand this racial identity that's going on in in the United States right now.
Yeah, well, right now, look, I think everybody who's listened to this station agrees with you that, look, if you truly believe that race is a social construct, which I truly believe it's not that I truly believe it, it's a fact. Race is but a social construct. So all these things that pigmentation is giving us problems with is simply man-made for a few people to take advantage of, and what we have to do is get rid of it. Now, that said, what's occurring in Charlottesville is a part of the process, believe it or not. But look here, I got to go, Don, because Shannon tells me she has to do a quick break. So thank you so kindly for calling, my friend.
Thank
okay? You have a great day now. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Egberto. It's currently 98 and partly cloudy. Humidity's around 40%, and it feels like 106 out there. Brutally hot. Heat advisory in effect this afternoon until 7 p.m. for much of southeast Texas. And tonight, it should be clear to partly cloudy skies, low of 79. Hot and mostly sunny Friday with a high near 98. Just a 20% chance of an isolated thunderstorm in the afternoon. And tomorrow through this weekend, expect heat index values to range between 103 to 107. So hot days still in store. And let's take a brief look at our roadways. On the North Loop eastbound at Willisville, there's an accident in Hazmatsville affecting the center lane to right shoulder. Traffic's backed up to Kirkpatrick. And on the West Sam Houston Tollway northbound at Bel Air, there's a disabled vehicle affecting the entrance ramp there, just backing up traffic in the general area, and a few slow-going areas around town, including on the Katy Freeway outbound from Blaylock to Highway 6. Slow-going as always this time of day on the West Loop in both directions from Forness all the way up to Irvington. And a few delays on the North Freeway outbound from Telephone out to Cavalcade, and slow going a bit on the Southwest Freeway outbound from Shepherd out to Chimney Rock. That's a look at your Houston area weather and traffic. I'm Shannon McCurchie, and you're listening to Politics Done Right, only on KPFT Houston. Back to you, Egberto.
Muchísimas gracias, Shannon. Folks, I'm going to have to start holding the time. I think line 3 is ringing. Let me go ahead and take Christopher on line 1. Okay, Christopher, come on in. You got about 35 seconds, sir.
Got it. Hey, can you hear me good?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
All right, very good. So, keep your statues up. I mean, America, a lot of people just don't stop other heroes and other folks, i.e., Africans who became Americans, and don't fight to put them up. I mean, look how they fought to keep Martin Luther King from going up. So there are so many African-American heroes, just put them up. I don't care about these Confederate guys. They did what they did, and folks want to honor that, fine, but just don't stop the others.
Wow, Christopher, that's a good I mean, I don't know how it go across, but just off the top of my head, right? Like, there are a lot of people that are thinking about the statues, thinking about the names of schools and so forth, right? I can understand things like name of schools, and when somebody learns that about Robert E. Lee School and they're going to Robert, that creates a problem. But when you're talking about statues, I mean, that's a concept that I hadn't thought about. That is, let's be represented. If we want to be represented, let's put all these statues out there. So I mean, hey, that's a thought. Thank you, Christopher. Anything else real quickly you want to add?
That's pretty much it. And here's the other side of what folks are crying about. Folks are certainly afraid, but what's happening is the deep-rooted hate and resentment is these things are used as a catalyst.
Exactly. Gotta go.
That's the real deal.
Christopher, thank you so kindly for calling. Keep listening. Keep telling people about KPFT. All right. Have a wonderful day, my friend. Okay, let's go to line number 6. John from Bel Air. John, you got 30 seconds.
Okay, Alberto. Brass tacks. Trump isn't going anywhere.
Right.
And I think as a political realist, you know it.
Yes.
2018, next year, the Republicans are not going to afford to lose any portion of his coalition because those senators want to be reelected and want to stay and remain in control.
Right.
So as a practical matter, unless he shoots somebody in the middle of Times Square and you get it on video and it's somebody like a movie star that they like,
still don't matter.
Happening.
Right. Look, you notice, I think you've heard my show several times. I've said that before, and as far as Gary is concerned about let's do that, I don't even know that I want him gone. But look, thank you so kindly for calling, my friend. You keep listening and keep telling folks about KPFT, okay? Okay, John?
Later, Alberto.
Have
Bye-bye.
a good one, my friend. All right, let's go to Ronnie, line number 2.
Hola, Egberto.
¿Cómo estás, amiga?
Okay, so I am African American. I'm going to be quick about this. I have 2 biracial children, white and black. I totally agree with Christopher. I am all for keeping up the historical figures no matter what the history represents. I'm sorry that the children have to go to Robert E. Lee School, but you think about that. We are far enough removed in our generations that if we can't balance the education on both sides and explain to the children why their school is represented by this figure, then that's the problem I have. Not so much that the school is named Robert E. Lee. I feel like we're losing sight of history when we take these historical things down just because they represent something bad. I was just at the museum district. There's a Holocaust museum. Nobody is saying tear that down because it represents something bad. I just feel like Christopher said, let's start implementing ways to educate on both sides.
Ronnie, great. Let me tell you something. We need to explore what you're saying a bit more because, like I said, that's why we have shows like this. We want to hear all point of views and see how we massage them into something that makes sense.
And when you cut something out just because it makes you uncomfortable or it represents something negative, instead of educating on it, you remain ignorant, and then we end up with neo-Nazis who think people are taking things from them. And
I want to explore that further, Ronnie. Let's talk later. But I got one more call to get in before we close this shop down.
Have a good day.
You too, my friend. Take care now. All right, let's go to Greg, número 3. Thank you, Greg. You're the last call. Talk to me, my friend.
All right, save the best for last.
Yes.
All right, people are saying that we should get rid of these Confederate soldier statues because they fought against America, right?
Right.
So we should also get all the statues named after Sitting Bull and Geronimo and all the Indians because they fought against America too, right?
Between you and Ronnie, there are a lot more things that we have to explore on this issue. Like I tell people all the time, so it doesn't matter what I think. If somebody makes a good point, one of the things that I want to do is I want to explore it more deeply. Give yourself an open mic. Well, the truth of the matter is I hadn't taken a position on whether to remove the all these statues. I mean, I've been sympathetic with the removal of the statues, but I hadn't taken a fixed position on that. And I love that you guys are opening the door for other thoughts and that. So I think it's a good thing and maybe needs a little bit of study. And maybe the mayor of Houston may want to hear from you, hear your point of view. So you may want to go out to city council and do that.
Well, what I'm going to do is, since 99.97% of people don't know where these statues are, I'm going to look on the internet, finding where the statues are before they get put up in storage somewhere.
There you go, my brother. Look, Shannon tell me I got to go, so I got to go. Look, thank you so kindly for calling. Folks, thank you very much for listening to one more day of Politics Done Right. You guys make this show. I have some very intelligent callers that give different points of view. This is Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies. C'est la vie. Adios.
I am your... Thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. You can personally reach me by sending an email to egberto@politicsdoneright.com. Remember, Egberto is spelled E-G-B-E-R-T-O. Change starts with you. 90.1 KPFT gives you information not tainted by corporate interest. Please visit kpft.org and contribute. Let's ensure continued access to real information and news remain available to all. Again, thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right.